Welcome to the Logic in Life Coaching Podcast, episode 38.
Everyone wants happiness and success, and we know how to get you there. Come listen to the Leadership Society of Arizona as we teach a proven logic to help you simplify life, overcome challenges, and predict the future. You're listening to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast. Welcome to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast. My name is Chuck Solanas, and I'm joined by Dr. Jacob Kashiwagi. Hello. The question that I have for this week is going to be about good and evil, and whether you believe that there is such a thing. So, is there a good and evil, or a right and wrong?
Very good question, Chuck. My answer is yes and no. So, like good and evil, right and wrong, these are all things that are like subjective. They're subjective terms. And so, is there such a thing as good and evil? Well, yes, there are things that people call good and evil, so that is correct. Yes. But to understand, is there really something as like a definitive, this is good and this is evil? You know, that since it's a subjective term, there's not a really good and evil. And in my view, when I look at things, I don't look at things in terms of good and evil or right and wrong or, good and bad, whatever it might be. And the reason for this is because of the definitions of what people consider evil and wrong or bad. If I were to ask you, Chuck, what is the definition of something being evil? What would it be?
Evil would mean probably of no benefit to anyone.
Okay. But in my mind, in perception, everything in life is required. It helps people, right? It might not be something that you wish someone to go through, but in the end, it helps them to grow. It helps them to understand more. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So in my mind, there is no evil because everything benefits and helps people to grow.
Right. Well, I guess there would be an idea of, I guess my definition would be a little off. It would be like, so evil in one instance could be stealing or theft. So if one person steals from another, it's a benefit to the person that's stealing it, but probably a detriment to the other person. But then you got the psychological issues that come with stealing. You've got a lot of the other disbenefits. So I think that it's not really beneficial it may be beneficial in one way, but not probably beneficial in other ways. Does that make sense?
Yes, I understand, but this is my view, is that as I wouldn't wish anyone to have their money stolen from them or things stolen from them, when I have had stuff stolen from me, which, I've had money and things stolen, maybe not a lot, but when I've had stuff stolen from me in the past, I lost my wallet one time and someone stole it. It helped me to grow. It helped me to realize I should be more careful with where I put my things. I should be more aware of what's going on around me. And so after I lost my wallet and I had to go through all of the steps of getting a new driver's license, canceling my credit cards, all of these things, moving forward, I became more responsible. I became more aware of where I would put my things down. I would make sure that I wasn't lazy with where I put my stuff or leaving things places.
Okay. So, yes. So you're saying that even if someone does something, quote, evil to you, you find that it's beneficial in some way, and it really could be a good thing that they stole your wallet and stuff.
Yes. So that act would not be evil. It's just an act.
Right. Okay. So, uh,
Okay, now
say,
let's go to the definition of bad. Like when you think of something that's bad or maybe wrong, what's the definition of bad and wrong?
well, I would think uh, that's something that's probably subjective, but to me, it would be something that inflicts a pain in my conscience, you know? I feel guilt from the action or the words or something like that.
Okay, now that would be very subjective, meaning
Yeah,
you would feel, in your mind and conscious bad about, other people might not. And so
right.
that's what I mean by yes. Is it real? Good and bad, right and wrong? Yes. Everybody feels certain things are right and wrong and whatnot. But in reality, right, there's everything is good and bad to different people. So you can't really label it because everybody has differing ideas and opinions of what it is.
Okay. So into like touchier subjects, you would think like someone who goes through a really traumatic incident where their entire family is killed, right? Um, do you think of that as something that is bad?
What would you consider something? What is the definition of bad? Like when you say something's bad, what are you referring? That it it what?
Like, is that something that you would want done to you? Like, if the definition is like the golden rule, for example, of do unto others what you would have done unto yourself, then you would think, all right, it's bad because I wouldn't want that done to me.
Okay, so look, this is the thing in life. There's all sorts of actions that you might not want done to you, right?
Mhm.
I would want it so that my life is completely without pain, doesn't have any issues in it. Everything is like just happy, go lucky, enjoyable in my life,
Mhm.
right? Technically, that's what I would want in my life. But if I had a life like that and I didn't actually learn more and understand more and develop myself, then I really wouldn't want that. I would want a life that allowed me to develop and grow. I'd rather go through some pain and issues and stress than go through a perfect life if it meant that I could develop myself, right? So, you know, do I want the least amount of pain in my life? Yes, but at the same time, I want whatever is required for me to learn and grow and understand. And so if my family being in an accident is required for me to be able to develop and learn and understand, then I'd rather that happen than it not happen. Did that make sense?
Yes, but what I'm so you're saying that the progression in life is not dependent on there being a good or evil. But then how could you really define progression?
Well, progression is understanding, how much you understand about reality. And some things that you go through in life that are a little bit more painful actually help you to understand reality a lot more.
Hmm.
Right? I mean, in my own family, I've had two brothers who have has passed away by suicide. And although those were tough experiences, it helped me to understand life more. Going through it, going through that process and understanding what went on, learning about their lives and what's going on, it helped me to learn more about reality, what people go through, right? Some diseases and mental issues that people go through as well. And so, yes, those type of actions might have inflicted a little bit of pain on me, might have made my life a little bit more stressful. I might have missed some people because of it, but it helped me to grow. So if someone asked me, would you like that to happen to you again? Definitely, because it's what I needed to be able to learn and develop.
You're saying that based off
You're
of
right.
what you had, what happened in the past, because you can't change it, and because that event happened in your life, you wouldn't try and go back and change it.
You got it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Not that you want that to happen in your life in the future or the present. It's just something that happens that you realize that you can't change. You
Yeah.
can't do anything.
It's just something that happened in my life that I needed to be able to grow. See, because look, a lot of people, when they say bad, evil, um, you know, immoral, they're they're saying these things because they're identifying actions that they feel should not be happening, right? Things that should not happen in life, things that people should not do. But when I look at it, life can only happen the way it happens. So if things actually occur in life, they were meant to happen. They needed to happen. Why they were needed to happen and what the impact of these things are, most of the time we never know. But I do know that reality is whatever happens is reality, right? And in order for all of life in the world to keep rotating and everything to keep moving, everything that happens in life needs to happen. So there's no action in my mind that is bad, evil, immoral, whatever it might be, right? Because everything's required, everything is needed. Now, are there things that I would rather not have to go through and hope that people don't have to go through in life? Yes, there's a lot of bad things, robbery, um, different things like maybe like tragic events like people committing suicide like my brothers, or people getting murdered, um, rape, all sorts of stuff that I wouldn't wish on anybody, but they happen actually. I mean, I have to accept that they actually are happening in life. Things are happening in life, um, and it's what reality is. Did that make sense?
Yeah. So if, for example, you found that something is more beneficial for people to do, like say for example, no control. Like this idea that you shouldn't try and tell people what to do, you should allow people to live how they're going to live because they control their own lives. And so when you try and put more control on people, like tell them what to do, try and manage them, try and manipulate them to get a desired result, you're really just going to put in more effort. It's going to cost more, those sort of things. So you can say that. Is there a benefit in teaching something like that to others if you already know that um, th- there's no such thing as good and bad, right? So,
Well, here's the thing. There's no such thing as good and bad, but there are characteristics of people that make you more successful in terms of being able to make more money, being able to maybe have a family, being able to have relationships, whatever it might be. And there are characteristics that people have that make it harder to do those things.
mm,
And so neither is good or bad. It's just one allows you to get more money. One doesn't allow you to get more as much money. One allows you to be less stressed, and one causes more stress, right? It's neither good nor bad. It just depends on what you want. For example, some people, they want to be surprised. Is surprises a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it just depends on what you want, right? If you like a person who doesn't want to know what your future is and what's going to happen, then surprises is good for you. But if you want to be someone who doesn't want to be surprised and wants to know ahead, wants everything to be clearly laid out, then it's better when there's no surprises. And everybody will go towards what they want. So I believe when I'm teaching, when I'm educating, I'm always going to try to educate and teach those people who want to be more successful. Because those people who don't want to be as successful, they might not want what I'm teaching as much. Does that make sense?
Okay, so you're not saying that there's a good result or a bad result. There are only results. And whatever result that you want, you should align, you should do these certain actions that get the desired result for you. Not that the result is good or bad.
Actions are neither good nor bad. Like evil or immoral or moral, whatever it might be, they're just different. And different actions lead to different results. A lot of times, people's perception is that actions that lead to more money, happier family, less stress, less worry, whatever it might be, those actions and characteristics are good. That's what most people's perception is. And the other type of characteristics are bad. But in my mind, they're just different. It depends on what you care about and what you want. It depends on which actions are things that you want and which ones you don't want.
So, like, in terms of there's certain organizations and religious groups that call certain things good and bad. How do you reconcile that definition, people defining good and bad, with your definition?
Well, a lot of groups, when they say something's good or when something's bad, the good is leading towards what they want and the bad is not leading towards what they want. Okay. So that's why at the beginning I told you the answer to this question is yes and no. Yes, because people actually have something in their mind on what's good and what's bad. But no, because in reality, everything's required. Everything's needed. And reality is reality. There are things that actually happen in life, and no matter what you do, they're going to happen. Because that's what is required to keep life moving, right?
Well, it's not no matter what you do, because if you believe that you control your life, then there's. Am I off base? Like, if
no, but what I'm saying is, if something has happened, then it needed to happen. Unless you have like some time machine and you can go back in time and stop it from happening. But if it has already happened, reality is stating that this had to happen in this way, which makes it required, which makes it no matter what you want to think or say, it happened already. Does that make sense?
Okay, so the idea of regretting your actions. So you're saying that's an inaccurate idea?
Definitely. Need to go back to our previous podcast, Chuck, on regret. No, I do not believe in regretting your actions. Definitely no.
Okay, because there is no such thing as good or evil. That's why that helps you to eliminate some of that regret.
Yes, and also it's just yes, you might do things that don't lead to the result that you want, but you have to go through that to learn. So
Hmm.
hopefully in the future you do get what you want. So whenever you think because you don't get what you want, you made a mistake per se, or you did something bad, that could be true. It could be true that you didn't get what you wanted, right? But don't feel bad about it. Just change it in the future. Learn from it, grow from it. That's why you went through it.
Got it. Okay, so the whole idea of regret is that you should have done something different because that would have been the good thing to do. Whereas you're saying that since there's only actions that bring about a desired result and certain actions that don't bring about a desired result. And if you wanted a desired result, then you could have you couldn't
No,
have changed the past, but you want to change what you're doing now so you can get that. Am
look,
I
yeah.
all right?
So, so Chuck, in the past, you might have done something and you didn't get the result you wanted. You can't go back and change that. You had to do it. It's the only way that you knew how to act at that time. So don't dwell on it and don't, feel bad about it. Move on, learn from it, right? You figure out you didn't get what you wanted, we'll do something different next time, and hopefully you keep learning until you actually get what you want. So move forward, don't regret.
Okay.
Good?
Yeah, it makes sense. Um, so if you are a person that is thinking that good and evil are are an issue in your life, what do you recommend that they do to kind of reconcile that in their head?
There's a couple of things. One is you have to become more educated. The more, and I think we discussed this in our previous podcast, the more you understand other people's views, the more you see what's going on in life, the more accepting of other actions you'll become. Right? When you're really opinionated that this is definitely right and this is definitely wrong, the more you start realizing, ooh, a lot of people don't see it that way. A lot of people see it the opposite way or see different things. And you start looking at it and realizing, whoa, life doesn't necessarily work in this good and bad that I'm thinking. Then it will make you more open. It will cause you to be less judgmental on this is good and this is bad, more accepting of what people do.
Wouldn't that make you like just kind of take the popular view always?
Well, there's a difference between um, believing the popular view and accepting the popular view. Believing the popular view is when you say everybody else believes this way, so I'm going to believe this way too. That's not what I'm promoting. Now, accepting the popular view is what I am promoting. Accepting means I might not think in my mind that's accurate, but I understand that that's what the majority of society believes in, and I can accept that.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So I might live in a society that likes to steal. So I can be accepting that, yes, the people around me, given the opportunity, they're going to steal whatever I have. I can accept that. Now, do I believe that's a good way to live? A good way to live? Do I believe that I should be doing that? No. So I might accept other people stealing, but I will not steal. Does this make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
So you have to learn as you understand, you accept the majority, but you still believe and see things the way that you believe is what's reality.
Okay. So it's understanding, seeing reality, like observing and getting more information about what other people are doing will help you to recognize that rape isn't bad.
No, it's like I began with this. There are certain things you wish on nobody, right? Um, do I wish people got murdered? No. Do I wish people got raped? No. Do I wish that people got their money stolen from them? No. All of these things I don't wish upon anybody, right? But do they happen in life? Yes, they definitely do happen. Is it tough to go through these type of situations? Yes, it's very tough for many people to go through this type of situation. Um, but what I look at is it's what goes on, right? It's there's nothing I can do to stop all of the murderings, killings, stealings, all this stuff from happening,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's something you have to learn to understand about life, learn to realize what's going on and be able to adjust your life and learn and understand more from it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it's not going to change the idea of your standards on life. So your standard of how to live, what to do, right,
Yes.
quote, quote, right action. It's going to just help you understand that not everyone sees it that way. And
Yes.
not that's a reason why there isn't good and evil. The reason that there's no good and evil is because whatever happens needed to happen. Because life only happens one way. And
It's what reality is. I mean, it happened. It's reality. It's you can't turn your head to it and say it didn't happen. Things really do happen in life, right? I have a good way of putting this. A good way of putting this will be that I there is a individual right and wrong, but there's not a universal right and wrong, right? For me, there's things that I will do and I won't do. There's things that I think are good for me and not good for me. But when I go to the entire human race, there's no universal, this is always a good thing for everybody and this is always a bad thing for everyone. This is always the right thing to do and the wrong thing to do. Does this make sense?
yeah, it makes more sense. But if you have like laws of the land that say if you murder someone, you're going to go to jail or get the death penalty, then you would probably understand that universally it's regarded as bad, right? In
No,
that land.
because unless you had everybody in the whole universe following one set of laws.
So you're saying that because they're not following all these laws, they don't regard it as
No, what
good.
I'm saying is because nobody, no race or everybody in the human race thinks the same way. There is no universal good or bad or right and wrong or moral and immoral. It just depends who you are. So you can't put a definition to it. It doesn't exist.
Got it.
That makes sense.
But there are certain actions that get you a certain result. So
That is,
if you're a religious person and you're saying heaven is where I want to go, or if you're saying that paradise or whatever your definition of amazing is where you want to be, then you still have to probably do certain actions, right? Like
yes,
certain faiths believe in different things,
yeah, there
and
is
so,
definitely a cause and effect to life.
right, okay, and that cause and effect applies to really any scenario. It's you if you want a certain result, you're gonna still have to do that action. It doesn't mean that it's good or bad. It's just if you want that result, you still have to do the work.
You got it.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a lot more clarified for me. I appreciate it. I
Uh,
have been trying to weigh this on my mind for some time, so I'm glad I asked it. So thank you so much for answering my question. So,
Thanks, Chuck.
listeners, I hope you enjoyed listening, and viewers, I hope you enjoyed watching. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for listening to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast. It would be great if you could take a moment to write us a review. For any questions, comments, or topics that you would like to have addressed on the show, email the team at leadaz.org. To learn more about the Leadership Society of Arizona, visit us at leadaz.org.